Morning, everybody. Or actually, it's afternoon now. There were several people that asked how I did my resin sculpture. I learned from watching videos on YouTube, but I will give you the information that I've put together in doing these. I'm going to be doing several today. First thing is this one here that I started. I wanted it to be 2 layers. So I'm going to be doing the second layer, which is going to be the bottom piece. So it's going to spread out. It's going to be a little bit darker, and it's going to be a little bit more of a bowl for this to set in. And I'll show you the process as we go. This one, which I finished up to this point at least, what I did here was I took my heat gun and I just pointed it at this location so that, because I wanted this to bend in just a little bit, and I've taped it in place so that it has the shape that I want while it solidifies. You can see it's still not attached, so what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be pouring some resin into the bottom to make these 2 attached, and then I'm going to put my cup into it to add it some weight, okay, while it hardens. And that'll finish up that one. And what you want to do is, if you're going to, whether you're going to do 1 layer or 2 layers into this, you want to select the jar or cup or bowl that you want to use for your base to make it a flat bottom base. And that's what you're going to use when you flip it upside down, which you'll see in the process. So here I have a thermos, and I have a cold cup, a coffee cup. And I have them so that the bases are a little bit different in size, so that one would be able to fit inside the other when I layer them, as I did with the colorful resin one. So you want to select those pieces first, and you want to have them fairly tall, because when you flip this upside down, it's going to drape over it like so. And you don't want it to be touching onto the table. You want to have enough room so that if you want to be able to tape it into a specific shape, that you have room to do so. Okay, so those are the 2 main materials that you're going to need. The resin that I use is KS resin. This one is the liquid art resin, UV resin. You can use any resin that I know of. I don't know of any restrictions on the resins, but that's the resin that I use, I personally like. Okay, the first one that I'm going to do, besides pouring my base into that piece to put them together, is I'm going to then do my water one. And my white is nothing more than a cotton ball that has been stretched out and is going to get soaked in clear resin and put around the border of my piece, and that makes it a soft, or it makes it look like it's seafoam. This one is going to be done with colors, so it is going to look, it's going to come out something like this type. Okay, so for this one you can use alcohol ink, and I'm going to add a little bit of glitter for just a little tiny bit of bling. I'm putting it on top of I'm using a 2-gallon baggie that is going to be poured on, and I have that on top of a wood round, which I have leveled and shimmed so I make sure that my resin stays level, because you don't want it tipping so that one side of it is thicker than the other. The next one that I'm going to do is going to be red velvet and interference red pigment powder. So this is a pigment paste. This is also by KS Resin, and this is by Pearlex. And so this is just going to be a 2-tone. I'm going to have the base of it kind of the reddish tone, and then the interference red, I'm going to swirl it around inside of the red, and then it's going to have a clear border. And then I'm going to add some of these, they call them wedding table scatter, which you can buy on Amazon. It's just little holographic, little diamond diamond looking gems. And that's going to be the outside or the edging. And you put that just a little bit beyond the clear resin or your colored resin, because the resin slowly creeps down and hits that barrier and melds into the gem pieces. And whatever is not melded into the gem pieces, you get to scrape off and you get to keep those for use later on. The next piece that I'm going to be doing is, we just had our swimming pool redone, and I was going to use penny tiles for my accent pieces on my steps going out into the pool. But they couldn't do those because it was too fine for doing grout. So I've taken apart the pennies and I have created a design inside of a round silicone mold. And these are black pennies. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using some gold resin paste, and that is going to be the base. And this is going to be a nice little trivet. The next piece that I'm going to do is going to be a lot like this one, but it's going to be black pigment that is by Pearlex, I believe. It's so dark I can't read it. Yes, Pearlex. And then this one is a pink gold. And then I have these rose gold gems that are going to go on the edge. And this will end up being kind of like it's going to be, right now it's going to be a single layer. It's not going to be a double. I may do a double because I do like them. And then the last piece is going to be the second portion of my sea bowl, and that is done with, what color is this one? Dragon scale paste and salt water paste. And then the white is going to be my cotton ball. So I'm going to put it on pause while I mix up my resins and everything, and then I will bring you back as I start to do these pieces. Okay, I have poured the resin into the bottom of my multicolored sculpture to put two pieces together. I've got the cup inside of it that I used to shape the interior bowl, and I have a 10-pound kettlebell sitting inside my cup to weigh it down so that they mold real good together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the white foam of my sea bowl first, because I think it'll be easier to deal with the cotton this way than the way I did it last time. So what I did was I placed my plastic, and you always want to use clear plastic. The first one that I did, I'll show you, I did with a piece of parchment paper just because I wanted to see what it was like to make one of these things. And it came out cute. I like the raw edges on it. But what happens is that the parchment paper is laid down, and so here's the side that the resin shows up, so it's nice and shiny. But parchment paper is just a dull piece of paper. So what it does is it captures that dullness in your resin. So you always want to use a clear plastic, if at all possible. Parchment paper came out really easily, but other than that, it didn't work out well. So I was going to do this second coat of plastic, but I'm not sure that I want to. I think I'm just going to stick to this one. So this plastic that I have on here is the back piece of my holographic window film, and hopefully it peels off really well. That's the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about, but it's nice and clear. And what I did was, again, I put down my board, I leveled it with shims, wood shims, and then on the back side of this film, I drew out an outline as to where I want the resin to actually flow. So let me get started. And what I'm going to do is, and this may not be the easiest way to do this, still working this out, but I'm going to lay this out along my border edge. And I'm going to pour resin on it to get it to soak up really good. And while this is doing its chemical thing to get absorbed, I'll be mixing up my second batch of resin, which is going to be the interior portion of the bowl. In just a bit, I will use my gloved hand to kind of get this worked inside the cotton. Now, one thing about using cotton is if you don't get it completely covered in resin, you most definitely don't want to use your bowl as a candle holder, or you can use it as a candle holder, just don't ever light the candle. Because if you do and you didn't have all of the cotton completely absorbed with the resin, then you are going to probably have a fire on your hand. I don't know that I would use it for a candle holder anyway, because the heat could make your resin a little bit malleable. So we want it nice and stiff. Okay, I have my ocean colors mixed. I think I have more than I need actually. To do one of these takes about roughly 2 ounces of resin. Okay. Pour it in the center. You can torch this, but you have to be really careful since it's sitting on plastic. And you can see if your plastic is not stretched out, it'll create bumps, and then those portions will be thinner. I'm going to use just a little bit of heat gun to kind of move the colors around. That now has to set for at least a couple of hours. This one takes 12 hours until it's hard to the touch, this resin, this brand of the resin. And so it'll probably be about 4.5, 5 hours before I can mold it over a cup or a bowl. Okay, so this one, I'm going to add just a little bit of glitter for some sparkle. I've not done glitter in resin before, so this will be a little bit interesting. Okay, this one I do not have a form for it. I do not have it shaped, drawn out like I did the other. I hope I've got that thick enough so that those ridges aren't too thin. Okay, so I'm simply going to pour this out. Again, this is about 100 ml. No rhyme or reason as to the shape that you do it. It doesn't have to be square, it doesn't have to be round. The more odd shaped it is, the more organic the results will be when you sculpt it. And it doesn't look like it's very big, and that always kind of concerns me, but it actually spreads. As it self-levels. This one I'm going to use alcohol inks. So I have magenta, Senorita Magenta. These are Piñata. And then I have boysenberry. And calabaza orange. And now what you want to do is you want to kind of smear them around a little bit. And again, these are going to spread along with the resin. Just very lightly. Spread them around. So this is going to have quite a bit of texture because I have the holographic paper, which has a design in it, and then the glitter. And now we're going to place gems around the outside edge. And these gems are going to act as a dam. So they don't have to be butted right up against the resin. because the resin will continue to move. And as I said before, what doesn't get trapped in the resin will be on your plastic, and you can save them for the next sculpture. You can buy this on Amazon. You just have to pay attention to the size of them, because some of the table scatter that they sell is like an inch in diameter, and that's way too big. My husband just came in to supervise. He's the one that came up with the idea of the penny tiles. And that one will be ready to check on in 2 hours. See how it's progressing. And now we'll get ready for the next one. Okay, it is about 3.5, 4 hours later. I'm going to show you how to drape the sculpture. This should be ready. And to know if it's ready, you simply touch a little bit, and that spot is not ready. So I thought we were, but I guess not. Should be light. Oh, it is ready. Okay, so since this is going to be the bottom of the bowl, I am going to drape it over the top of the existing one that I have. So I put it back on the cup that it started off with. I put an extra layer of plastic over it so that if any of the resin decides to do the water drips, like are seen on here, that they won't interfere with the existing piece that I already have done. So I'm going to slide this over out of the way for a moment. And when I do this drip, I want it to go down on this piece of plastic just in case. Put this one back here in the center, my flat side. And again, I'm using just a plain piece of plastic, making sure that my long sides are covered. And now all you do is you take this piece and you drape it. So I've got the long side there. I want it to go like so. And kind of pull it to flatten out the bottom. The paper is sticky. If need be, you can use your heat gun to help flatten this pit. Now don't touch that part. So now see if there is any of the resin that is a little bit on the softer side, not quite set totally to the touch, then it is going to dribble down to create the water. And if you want to direct that it folds a certain way, then you're just going to use tape and tape those sides down. I'm not sure how well this is going to tape because everything on here on my table is silicone. But I kind of want it to have fold on different folds. So right now here's my fold from the first one, so I'm going to pull this You know it's ready when it's just tacky. It's ready to be molded. See, that's not going to. I also found that using some of these little clips help to pull the folds. You just got to make sure to have them low enough so that the resin does decide to drip down and it doesn't interfere. Doesn't get stuck in the clips. Okay, I'm gonna get my heat gun. I can help that to stay in place. this doesn't need much. Okay, I think that one's ready. And I don't think this one, well, this one is. Okay, so that's where that goes. Let me pause you and I will get this other one set up. Good morning, everybody. Okay, these are ready to be pulled apart. And I've already pulled one of them apart. And let me show you, well, let me show you this one first. So this is the one that I put the resin in to the bottom of yesterday to put these two pieces together, and I added some of the little gems in there into the little puddle. So this is completely affixed. I pulled my water one away, and so this is the one that I had done previously, and now it sits in here beautifully. So I will pour a little bit of resin into the bottom so that they can stay affixed together. I think it came out gorgeous. And I will pull these others apart. Now, one thing that I do is I wear a glove. I take an old ski glove that's nice, form-fitted, soft, so that I don't leave any fingerprints on anything. So I'm going to take the base of this one apart first, because it is the base. And to know that it's ready, tap on it with your fingernail and it will sound hard. Let me get these out of the way so I don't knock them over. Okay, I have removed the tape and the plastic from both of those pieces, and I have set them inside of each other. And I pulled the top one out and poured a pool of resin, about 40 mil. Let me see. And about 35 mil of resin in there, and then placed the top piece back in. And then I took a spoon of the gems, the rose quartz gems, and I placed them in all of the larger pockets so it will harden. And put my cylinder back in there, which is black paint. And I did the same thing with my ocean wave. Took the top piece out, poured in about 35 milliliters of resin. This one doesn't get gems because this is the one that has cotton in it. And then I placed my thermos back in it. Give that the evening to harden, and by midday tomorrow it should be really good to go. and then I can give you a picture of what it looks like all completed. Till then.